in this moment, and I feel free. Christ chooses us.
Guys, can we just call a spade here? Okay, let's call a spade. This is fucking pure anti-Semitism. So, yet again, let's just call a spade here. This is genocide. You need to call a spade in that situation. Stop pretending like the year is 2008 and the opponent is John McCain. So, let's call a spade. And if we call a spade, we're supposed to be afraid? We're supposed to have repercussions against us? This is insane. A Trump simp is less embarrassing than an Elon Musk simp. Let's call a spade. Gave $75 million, try to buy the election for Trump.
But you have to call a spade and say, in terms of reducing gun violence, oh, it absolutely works.
Look, we just gotta call a spade here. I like the guy, but you gotta call a spade. I think this interview was abysmal. But you also have to call a spade. I'm for free speech, but also...
And look, you gotta call a spade. You gotta call it what it is. This is rank authoritarianism.
For the life of me, I can't understand how his supporters at this late date can't look at this and call a spade. Let's call a spade here. J.D. Vance has negative charisma. He has the charisma of a dirty diaper. Listening to him talk is like watching paint dry. And look, you gotta call a spade, right? You don't need to be in favor of intervention against those countries to call a spade and say they're working.
When the Republicans say, you gotta call a spade and call it by its name, it's, look, the people in Trump's orbit, you gotta call it what it is. You gotta call a spade. The people in Trump's orbit are going down ski right now. I mean, you're just doing the government's bidding and the establishment's bidding if you're refusing to call a spade and say, hey, the only reason the Republicans voted this way was because of the bribes they took.
And so, yeah, it's a right-wing group, and let's call it what it is. Call a spade. But let's call a spade. It's also terrorism when Israel does it, and they've killed way more civilians. So, I mean, look, let's call a spade here. This is the Supreme Court saying, look, you gotta call a spade. This is a sick society. And look, you gotta call a spade. Elon Musk and Charlie Kirk. Those guys don't know what the fuck they're doing. Let's just call a spade. They don't know what the fuck they are doing. Basically, why can't you call a spade and say fascist? And she was like, we can. Sometimes you have to call a spade. Because some of this shit, you gotta call a spade. We need, at some point, we need to be willing to call a spade. And calling a spade in this instance is saying, you guys support war crimes. So far, let's call it what it is. Let's call a spade.
Kind of crazy, kind of weird, kind of wild, kind of questionable, right?
Just call it what it is. Call a spade. When there's another giant tax cut bill for the rich that comes up, are you going to now fire people who want to call a spade about that? How could Bernie have done it? Well, for starters, you could call a spade and just be like, excuse me, I think that's a ridiculous question.
Call a spade and stop doing bombing overseas.
You gotta call a spade. The Daily Wire does a hell of a lot of good things. The idiots in right-wing media who are trying to pretend like it's an absurd notion to look at Elon Musk do his Nazi salutes and call a spade.
What is that actually happened?
Of course it happened. I think